Hello, it's Andy here, and welcome to episode 8 of my Sans 2018 Holiday Hack Walkthrough. In the previous episode, we discovered that Hans's evil plan was to steal the contents of Santa's vault. Our next objective suggests he may be working in league with a person whose name begins with K, who tried to get a job working for Santa's cybersecurity team until his connections with a terrorist organisation were uncovered. Before we try to track down those details on the website provided, let's stop off and see Sparkle Redberry, who's been told off for uploading sensitive files to a Git repository. She's looking for verification that her attempts to remove this sensitive information have been successful. Inside the terminal we see a folder which is a clone of a Git repository. We can quickly check the git config file to see if she's stored any passwords in there, but no, it appears clean. Next, let's have a look through the git commit logs to see if we can see any reference to something sensitive. And sure enough, a comment on November the 8th says that a password was removed from config.js. If we try to locate that file now, it just does not exist. So let's revert to the previous version of the code repository that did have that file. We can do that with the git checkout command, and we just need to specify the commit we want to go back to. In our case, we want to go back to the one before the commit, which removed the sensitive data. If we search for that config file now, we see it's in the server config folder, and sure enough, there's Sparkle's password. Let's submit that and get back to the main objective. If we navigate to the Elf Resources website, we can see a single page with some fields and an upload button, so could be vulnerable to some sort of injection or file upload vulnerability. Let's poke around the source code first though. There's a reference to a folder called static. I wonder if we can browse directly there. Well, no, but we get a very useful error page, which includes the directory that this website is running from on the server, which also tells us that this is a Windows box, and also suggests that a public folder exists. We get the same results if we try to navigate to that public URL. We know the Word document that contains our goal is in the C drive root, so in the spirit of trying quick and simple things first, let's see if we can just browse there directly by walking up the directory tree. If we know that the /public URL is served from C drive careers portal resources public, then we need to jump up 3 levels in order to get to the C drive root. But nope, it doesn't look like it'll be quite that easy. Going back to the public folder, perhaps this is the folder where work history CSVs are uploaded to. If so, we might be able to upload and execute a script of our choosing. So let's create a test file and upload. The upload functionality seems to limit us to just .csv files. We can probably work around this as it looks like the check is client-side, but as this is just a quick test, let's rename our file to a CSV for now. Our file is uploaded, and the success message also contains a reminder that all successful candidates will be added to a file in the root of the C drive. Now let's see if our file is in the public folder. It's not. One of the talks at KringleCon this year was about CSV DDE injection. In it, Brian Hostetler describes how to abuse dynamic data exchange formulas in spreadsheets, including CSV files. Given that this app only accepts CSV files, this could be quite a big clue. I recommend watching Brian's talk for full details, but the gist of the attack is as follows. We'll create a CSV file with a malicious payload and upload it to the server. Then, when one of Santa's elves opens the file to review our job application, our payload will be executed in the context of that user. Now, that user will probably receive some warnings about potentially malicious content in the CSV file, so we're somewhat dependent on poor user behaviors to just click on past these warnings. We need to decide on the payload. We'll start with something simple to check if it works. Let's just create a simple file in the public folder of the website. After submitting our file to the web app, we must wait a few moments for an elf to open it, and after a quick refresh we see success. Now we know that this site and its users are vulnerable to this type of attack. We can change our payload to access our target file by simply copying it over to the web accessible public folder. Here I am also renaming it to something that only I know. Again, we'll need to wait a few moments for the payload to be executed, but eventually we get our hands on our target file. Browsing through it, we see it contains a list of candidates, an assessment of their cyber skills, and a few comments about them from a recruiter. The name of the first candidate, Krampus, begins with a K, so this is probably who we're interested in. The comments about Krampus mention he's connected with the Fancy Beaver cyber terrorist organisation, who provided support to the villains who've tried to destroy Christmas in previous years. With the objective complete, we see an update on the storyline narrative. We've managed to block access to Santa's treasure, and Hans has, rather incompetently, slipped over and got himself stuck in a snowbank. So, whilst it looks like Santa's treasure is safe for now, we still have a couple of objectives to go. I'll see you in the next episode when we'll move on to objective number 8.